Okay, hello. Let's check the connection. Uh, has it started or not? Yeah, I'm not really used to these live streams yet, so some technicalities on the beginning. But hello, guys. I'm extremely excited to be doing this second video in the series, and we're going to continue building certificate OWL. So in the previous video, episode, live stream, whatever, we didn't do anything with Ruby on Rails. We just did the research of similar applications. So I found that Bear offers to like fill in a list of fields and generate some certificates. Well, you can do it one by one, or you can use their API. There are a few other applications like Credible, Give My Certificate, Certifier, and it all proves that there exists a market, so that there exists a demand for this kind of application. So in this video we are going to finally start building something. We are going to build a proof of concept application. So meaning we're not going to focus on any kind of boilerplate code, we're just going to build the main functionality of the application, where we can select a certificate template, create a group of recipients, as for example in this application, upload a list of people who should receive certificates, maybe add some settings like do we want a QR code for this or not, and generate the certificates. So I have already created a new repository, and it's just like a basic Rails 7 application that uses Tailwind out of the box. And we're going to start coding now. So yeah, you can also check out this repository. And yeah, I've got it in my local GitHub. I haven't opened it in code yet, so let's do that. Okay, cd CertificateOwl. I'll make the screen a bit bigger. Okay, bin dev to start the server, and let's have a look at what we have from the very beginning. Do we have anything? Yeah, so it's just a blank Rails application, okay? I've created the database, and well, there's nothing here. So we're going to start by having, let's say, a list of certificate templates. You see, as all these applications like Credible or Get My Certificate or Bear, they have a certificate design, and each design can have a few different fields that can be filled in. So we are going to create this kind of modeling. Now I'm not going to do everything on master. I'm going to create a separate branch and push all the changes above this branch. So I will say new branch, POC app, like proof of concept, whatever. And we are going to create a resource. Let me just first do it in the README. Okay, I will start the VS Code. Okay, let's go to the README. And what do I want to do? So we will say Rails generate resource. Resource means we're not going to generate the controller actions and views. We're going to write them on our own. That will give us a bit less boilerplate code that we do not need. Okay, so a certificate template. We're going to generate the resource certificate template. And a certificate template is going to have a name and a list of modifications. So name and modifications. I actually saw the Bear API, and here you see their main object is an image, and an image can have a few basic fields, but modifications is what makes it unique. So it has a template, and we are going to also have a template on the certificate level. And the template is going to be actually the certificate template. And you see a list of modifications. So in the certificate template, we will have a list of modifications that this particular template can have. Like, for example, a certificate of completion can have different templates from, different modifications from another type of certificate. Okay, so we are going to generate a certificate template for the name and a list of modifications that is going to be JSONB. Okay, anything else that we need for this? No, let's try to generate this. I will say Rails generate resource, and let's have a look what it gave us in the git changes. So an empty controller, because we generated a resource, a helper, a model, resources, a migration. Here we are going to say that null will be false, and JSONB modifications default will be an empty hash. Okay, let's see. So yeah, let's go to bin dev and have a look at our application at the moment. Oh my god, this is my dog Cindy playing with a loud toy. So distracting me a bit. Anyway, yeah, we're going to run this migration. Rails db migrate, bin dev, and let's have a look at our application now. So let's add the root path, go into roots, and root will be to certificate templates. Okay, yeah, we don't have any views yet, so we don't have something to look at. Okay, so yeah, let's just save our changes. We'll say, well, we'll name the commit the way we made the generator. Okay, so we have a certificate template resource. Now let's just add a few pages that can be looked at. Let's go to our controller, certificate templates controller, and here we'll have an index view. And in the index view, we'll have a list of all the certificate templates. So add certificate templates equals certificate template dot all. Okay, and we will seed some certificate templates. Let's go to our seeds and let's see what do we have in our certificate template migration. We have name and modifications. So let's say certificate template dot create, and we are going to say name will be certificate of completion, for example. I think this would be quite a popular name for a certificate. And modifications. And modifications is going to be a hash. We've set it here. Let's see if we manage to generate it this way. So we will have, what kind of modifications we will have? We'll have, well, each certificate is going to have a name and an email. So we'll have name of the receiver, of the person that received the certificate. Yeah, and a name, Cindy. Yeah, the little dog wants to play. Yeah, a certificate template will have a name and a description, so like what the certificate is given for. Description. Yeah, actually this could be even not an not a hash, but an array. Oh my god, Cindy. No, I can't. So name, description, then issued at. Maybe some certificate templates won't have this issued at. Issued by. Yeah, actually, looking at this, it might make more sense to have it not as a hash but as an array. But anyway, let's leave it the way it is, and let's have another look at this API. Yeah, so here I think it would make sense to just have a list of modifications as an array, and here it would be as a hash that would match the array elements to the keys of the hash. Okay, let's continue. So we'll have name, and yeah, here we can actually use this and have some defaults. So let's say Peter Parker for completing the Spider-Man course. Issued at, this would be some kind of date, like the 11th of March 2023, and issued by Yaroslav Shmarov. Yeah, for example, like this. So we'll have one certificate template. Let's see if it would work. Yeah, I forgot a comma. I will, yeah, another comma here. And let's see if our seeds work. I will stop the server, railsdb seed, and let's Rails console, and let's have a look at all our certificate templates. Certificate template.all, and you see the record has been created with the modifications. Let's say .first, modifications, and let's get the, for example, name. And yeah, we have this default value. Yeah, so it's actually cool that we've made it as a hash because it can add some default values. Cindy, no, later. Okay, let's create another certificate. Let's name it Employee of the Month. Tom Baker, fastest employee service. Yeah, and let's reseed our application. So railsdb seed replant. This is going to remove the old seeds and add the new ones. Okay, let's go to our certificate template to RB and add some basic validation. So validates name, presence, true, and uniqueness, true. Okay, now we have a list of certificate templates in our application, but we can't view them yet. So we've created a control action to have a list of certificate templates. Let's create the view. We have an empty folder. Let's create index.html.erb. And here we will say certificate templates.each do certificate template equals certificate template, and let's see what we have in our view. So going to /certificate templates, and yeah, we have our certificate templates. Let's make some kind of additional break here. Okay, so we have two certificate templates that we can display. Let's say .attributes. Okay, here are two certificate templates. And now let's maybe save our changes. So seed and display templates. Okay, now we have two certificate templates. Obviously later we can focus on styling them and displaying an image of how a certificate template would look like this, for example. Yeah, I think this would be quite important. Let's maybe make a small draft of this now. Let's create a partial for certificate template.html.erb, and here we're going to render partial certificate templates /certificate template. Locales will be certificate template and itself, and a break here. Let's move the attributes here and see if it works. Yeah, it works as before, so everything is correct, and we would want to have some kind of styling here later on, obviously. So I'm using Tailwind. Maybe I can try adding some kind of background like BG Slate 300. Let's see if it works. Okay, it does work. Now you see they are next to each other because by default in application HTML ERB, when I generated a Tailwind app, the display is flags. So yeah, let's remove flags, and now they are one under another. Okay, so again, as I said, later on we can work on the styling of the certificate templates, but let's save our changes for now. Certificate template partial. Okay, And next, as we have it in all these applications like Give My Certificate and Certify and so on, we will want to be able to create a group where we select a certificate and some kind of settings for all the recipients of the inside a group. So for example, we can say that a QR code will be generated for on a group level, not on a unique certificate level. So I'm going to have a group. A group is going to have some kind of like name for internal usage. It is going to belong, well, we're not doing the organization model on this level. In this like proof of concept application, it's going to belong to a certificate template, and we can add some kind of additional settings like, do we want a QR code, or do we want to have a certificate ID displayed as we have in this Give My Certificate application. You see, we can say, do we want a QR code, do we want a verification link as here to be displayed on the certificate. So let's plan our actual scaffold. We'll do it as a scaffold. So we'll say Rails generate scaffold. It will be an event. How do others call it? So Certify calls it group. Let's name it group. Yeah, why not? I will also rename it here. Oh yeah, here it actually is group. So a group will have certificate template references. It will have a name, and it is going to have some kind of settings for all the certificates inside the group. For example, QR or verification link or certificate ID. I don't think it would make sense to have like and QR and certificate ID and this like line for how to verify at the same time. So maybe we would want to have maximum one of them at the same time, but let's give the flexibility to our users. So I will say QR display QR boolean. Then I will say display verification link boolean, display verify link boolean, and display ID boolean. Okay, let's see, do we want anything else on this model? I think it is enough for now. Let's see what others do. So there is a name of the group. There is yeah, this is actually really cool. Link learning event link. So like a link to the event for which the certificate was given. But this could potentially be inside our certificate template modifications. Let's not do that now. So there is the design, delivery by email. Yeah, we can actually say whether we want to deliver the certificates by email or no. Oh, hello Abdullah here. Doing great, nice to see you. Okay, so yeah, let's also add the email boolean so that our users can select whether our like application users can select whether they want to deliver these certificates by email. Okay, let's do the scaffold. Bin dev, let's have a look. So yeah, scaffolds always generate so much. We have our groups controller, helper, group model that belongs to certificate template. Let's add some validations. So validates name, presence, true, and all the other fields don't require presence, I guess. So yeah, these are all like optional. We could also want to do like default false for booleans or something. I usually, when I don't want a boolean to have 3 different states as like true, false, or null, I would say that it should be false by default. So let's say default false on all our booleans. Okay, and yeah, let's run the generator. Oh, I mean the migrations. Okay, and now if we navigate to events, oh yeah, actually groups. If we navigate to groups, we can create a new group. We would have a name, we would select a certificate template and some general settings. What if we don't want to just like enter the ID of the certificate or template or something? What if we want to edit from the params? For example, we are on the page of on the list of certificate templates and we want to click on a specific certificate template and open the creation of a group from it. Like here, for example, I click on a certificate template and it creates a form and it already has kind of the ID of the certificate template that I want to use. So let's turn these into links to create a group. Let's go to group/new and we would have some kind of certificate template ID in the params and it will be automatically populated here. So let's go to our certificate templates. Okay, let me first save our changes. Scaffold groups. Yeah, and going back to our certificate template, here I will turn this into a link. Let's say link to new event path, and in the params I will say certificate template ID equals certificate template.id. Then we'll have this block and end, and let's see what it gives us. New event path doesn't exist. Oh yeah, it's group. I keep mixing up. New group path. Okay, so these are now links. And if I click, you see I have the certificate template ID in the params, and I want it to be automatically populated here. So to do this, I will go to the form, and here we have a text field, and let's make it actually a select certificate template ID. And yeah, we'll just have certificate template, and the collection for select will be certificate template.all. So this will be the first step, and we would have a selected, and it will be the params certificate template ID. Let's see if this works. Okay, certificate template dot block. Let's block the name and ID. Okay, so I have certificate of completion selected, and let's change the ID to 1 or to 2. Okay, it doesn't seem to be working. So for some reason, let's try just for the ID. Text field ID, and have the selected thing. Maybe I need value for the ID. Okay, it is 2, and here it is 1. Okay, yeah, let's see. So with the value it works, and yeah, that's actually fine. We have the certificate template from the params. Okay, Let's continue. So we will create a name like all users who have completed my 25 gems course. Okay, I'm going to use the certificate template with ID 1, that is certificate of completion. I will say that I want to display QR and I want to send emails. I'm going to create a group, okay, and it says certificate template must exist. So maybe I should say value should be either the one from the params or group.certificate template. Let's try once again, and I will say create group. And it says certificate template must exist. Okay, so it doesn't seem to be working correctly. Interesting. Let's refresh. I will try to debug. I'll go to certificate templates controller and go to groups controller. Yeah, and let's have a look at the create action. I will go to say debugger, and let's see, I click create group and I'm trying to debug. So let's say params. Okay, the debugger will not work because I've got Foreman working with the proc file. So I need to have a separate web and CSS thing running for the debugger to work correctly. Let me start just the server and again go into the debugger. So clicking create, and now I'm in the debugger, params. So param certificate template ID is present. Let's say group new. Certificate template ID is filtered. Okay, add group dot certificate template ID. Okay, it is present. Let's say add group dot save, and for some reason it did not save. Add group dot valid, add group dot errors, certificate template blank. Okay, let's continue. This looks like quite a strange error. Let's go to our group RB, belongs to certificate template. Certificate template, let's say, has many groups. Yeah. I wonder why it didn't work. Let's go back to the form. And let's again try to submit. Create group, certificate template must exist. Let's go back to certificate templates. Here we have this ID. Okay, now it seemed to have worked. Yeah, why didn't it work the first time? Let's delete this group. Let's go back to certificate templates. I'll try the certificate. Okay, because I was passing in a wrong ID, and ID of a template that doesn't exist. Let's just check. Certificate template dot block ID. Yeah, I was trying to create a certificate template ID that is one, but it didn't exist. Okay, mystery solved. So let's go back to our list of groups. I'm going to create a new group with all the users. Certificate template will be at ID 2. I will want to display QR and I will want to send email, and have created a group. Okay, let's save our changes, but let's, before doing that, also add some basic navigation. Application HTML, and I will say equals link to certificate templates, and it will be certificate templates path, and also to groups. Group path. Let's see. Okay, we have our two links. Seems to be working okay. So we'll say click on certificate template to populate a group form with ID. Okay, yeah, let me try to go and edit one of the groups. So I go to edit, and yeah, I have the certificate template here, but it doesn't seem to be in a nice format. It should be group certificate template.id. Okay, so looks fine. Let's save our changes, and yeah, that's okay. So I have selected a template, I have a group, and now I want to have certificates, like a list of certificates that I want to generate. So we will have the certificate model, and a user will always have a name, a user will always have an email, and there will be a list of modifications that are specific to this certificate template that we are using. So let's think how we are going to generate our scaffold for, or maybe not scaffold, for our certificates. I think it's not going to be a scaffold. We'll have a name, so let's say Rails generate resource certificate. It will have a name. It will have yeah, an email. We are going to always require a user's email. A list of modifications. And a certificate is always going to belong to a group. So we'll say group references. Let's create the resource. And let's have a look at our migration and say, so name null false, email null false, modifications null false, default empty. Well, yeah, actually, what if some certificate templates don't require any modifications? Let's allow null here. And yeah, I did allow null here. So looks fine. Let's say Rails bin migrate, bin dev, and yeah, we will also display a list of our certificates. Let's have a list of all certificates. But I'm not going to edit yet, so I'll comment it out. And let's say generate resource certificates. Okay, so we have generated our resource certificates, and let's add the associations. So certificate.rb validates name presence true, same for email, and what else belongs to group. So group has many certificates. Yeah, that is fine. We've added the associations and validations. So certificate associations and validations. And I think it's too little to be able to comment. So a group will have a list of certificates. Let's click on show the group and display a list of all the certificates that the group that have been generated inside the group. So we have our views, we've got our groups, and we've got an empty folder for certificates. So let's add something like show.html.erb for certificates, and this is going to be the kind of PDF file or whatever that we are going to render. So this file is going to be in the show, I guess, and we're going to have also a partial, and we're going to display a list of partials, a list of all the certificates that we have for this group. So let's say certificate.html.erb, and let's say add certificate. Yeah, let's add some kind of div on the beginning and on the end, and we'll have equals certificate dot name. Then we'll have email and modifications. And let's display this list of certificates inside our event or group. Yeah, so inside the group show we'll have something like an h3 or whatever certificates, a list of all the certificates that we have generated for this group, and we'll say render partial certificates slash certificate, and locales will be add certificates, and we'll have to define add certificates as yeah, it's not going to be just a partial, it's going to be a collection of partials. So we'll say add certificates dot each do certificate, and here we're going to render the partial, and yeah, locales certificate will be certificate. And let's go back here. So we don't have certificates defined. We'll go to groups controller, and in the show we will say add certificates equals add group dot certificates. And now we see that we have 0 certificates for this group at the moment. Let's also maybe display a count. Let's say certificates at certificates dot count. Okay, so no certificates for this group yet, but they're coming later. So let's say display certs in group. Okay, and yeah, let's say we want to let users to upload a CSV of certificates. So how can we let users upload a CSV? I've done this before. Let's see how I did it before. I don't want to try to remember from scratch. CSV, so import CSV to Rails. Okay, I had resources users, post import. I'm going to have some kind of form inside the list, inside the group. So to generate certificates, we'll need to have a form to upload a file. So import certificates path, for example. The path doesn't exist yet, so let's add the path. Resources certificates do collection do and post import. Now the path exists, and we have what do we have? We have a form, let's say form with URL. This is a more modern approach to writing forms. Method post, file field tag. I'm not sure why I added it multi-part previously. And let's say form dot file field. I think it's a better approach, and form dot submit. Yeah, do form. Okay, so we can now upload a CSV file. And yeah, you see, I accept only CSV. So let's generate a CSV file. Let's go create a new document and say we'll have a name field, an email field, and modifications. Which modifications do we have? So let's say modifications dot name, modifications dot description, modifications dot issued at, and issued by. Okay, so this is a list of fields that we will require, and let's say we'll have a name of the person who received. Let's make it Abdullahi. Let's make another one Ahmed. Nadar. Yeah, I'm just getting the names of people who are in the comment section. Hey Ahmed. Okay, so we'll have some kind of email like abd and ahm@gmail.com. So modifications name. Let's say completed 92% of the course and completed 100% of the course, and the description to notify that the person has successfully completed the 25 Ruby Gems course. So the description is going to be the same for both, let's say, issued at 11th of March 2023. Let's add another date here, 10th March 2023, and issued by Yaroslav Shmarov from superrails.com. And let's turn this into a CSV. So how can I export to CSV? Let's save it on desktop, and let's say CSV certificates. Okay. Yeah, let's not completely close it yet. I will try to import the file, and I will go to our certificates controller, and here I will have the dev import. Okay, and let's put a debugger here, and I will run not bin dev but Rails server, and let's see if something happens if I try to import a CSV file. So I click on import, and I'm inside the debugger. Okay, let's say params file. Okay, and we have a file. And let's see how I was parsing a file previously. So yeah, params file is present. Let's check the content type to be CSV. Yes, it is CSV. And I was calling a service to import the CSV. So yeah, that was actually really cool. Let's just copy all these lines, and we'll call a service to import the CSV. So let's create a service. I will go to app and create a folder services. I will have CSV import service .rb class CSV import service, def initialize, and def call end. Okay, and we are going to yeah, let's try to call this service, and we're going to initialize with a file and say add file equals params file, something like this, and it will be new, and here we'll say file equals params file dot call. And now let's try to rerun the debugger to be inside the CSV import service and see if we hit the call action. Let's continue. I will go back. I will select the CSV certificates, import, and uninitialized constant. Why is it an uninitialized constant? Interesting. Let's see how I did it previously. I had app services CSV import service, and for some reason now it's trying to call from the controller. Interesting. Let me just restart the server. Sometimes it helps. CSV certificates import. Okay, and yeah, uninitialized parameterized file, but we do have file. So let's say file equals file. Let's try once again. I import certificates, and let's see, add file. Okay, we do have add file, so seems to be working. Let's go back to the tutorial that I wrote some time ago, and let's we're going to require CSV so that we know that the service can work with CSV. And we had some kind of action to parse the CSV. Let's see. So let's try doing it in the console now. File open, we have add file, or we can actually just add the add reader file, not to have to say add file. So we have an opened file, and let's say we'll have header true, and what kind of column separation do we have? Let's say this sign, most likely. And we're going to get each CSV row. Let's put a next debugger here and see where we get. And it looks like something is broken. So yeah, it looks like I need another end that I didn't copy. Usually most of the syntax errors happen, in my experience, from just copy pasting. Okay, we are back in the debugger, and now we have a row. And you see the row has a name. So let's say row name. And we have Abdullah here. Now we have row email. So we'll have row email, and here we'll have email, here we will have name. What else do we have? We will have so we're going to create a new user hash, and let's see, we'll have user hash. It has a name, it has an email, let's say user hash, and inside this hash we're going to have a modifications hash. Let's say modifications equals another hash, and let's say what do we have in our modifications. Let's go back to our row. So modifications can be quite generic, and we would need some kind of way to pass all kinds of fields that have modifications. So and all the fields that have modifications would need to be kept in the modifications hash. So we would need to get all the key value pairs that have modification in the key, and store them in a separate hash. I don't think I'm going to focus on this particular piece of code a lot now, but let's make it work for this just one template. So to do store dynamic modification columns in one hash. Let's not overcomplicate it for this video, and let's say row. Let's say we'll have row modification description, and here it will be modifications description. Let's see. Do we have row modification description available? Yes. Let's save it. Let's see what we have in our modifications. Okay, we have description and a value. And we'll do something similar for the other cases. We have row, and in the modifications we have issued at. We have issued by. And we also have modifications.name. Maybe it should be better title. Okay, modifications name, issued at and issued by. And the rows are going to have the same, yeah, the rows are going to have modification dot this thing. Yeah, actually the meta programming for this would be not so hard. Yeah, so let's just reiterate and let's get our modifications, and yeah, here they are. Looks fine. And we will want to add the modifications to our user hash. Let's see our user hash, and let's say user hash add modifications. Did it work? No, not really. So let's search for Ruby add hash into hash. Let's see. Maybe we can try user hash and the field is going to be modifications, and we're going to add modifications. Let's see if this works, and it actually might. Yeah, it was a good solution. So in user hash modifications, we've added all these modifications. Okay, and we don't have a user, we have actually a certificate. So let's rename our user to certificate. Again, this is a case that happens when you copy paste something. And we're going to say certificate find or create by. But importantly, a certificate should belong to a group. So we should also have the group params here. So before actually saving any certificates, we will have to go back to our form, and we're going to also have the certificate or the group. Let's pass it inside the URL params. I would say group ID equals at group.id. And let's go back to our certificates controller and put a debugger here and see if we can access the group ID. So let's go here. I'm going to once again import, and let's see params, params group ID, and yeah, we have passed it in, so looks good. Let's also pass the group ID params into our service to import the CSV. So we will say we'll have a file will be params file, and group ID will be params group ID. Let's just check it once again. Okay, I'm removing the debugger from here, and we will have group ID here. Let's say group ID. And now, if you wanted to let us create certificates without a group, you could just add nil here. But we are not going to do that. Let's say add group ID equals group ID, and in attribute tree that will have file and group ID. And let's go to our call and see if we have group ID accessible at this point. So once again, I'm going to, I'll stop this binding and generate the certificates, and let's see, group ID. Yeah, it is accessible, so looks fine. And we are now going to create these certificates. Let's just copy all these lines, and we have this certificate hash. and we want to create certificates from the certificate hash. But we would also need to associate the group. So we will say add group dot certificates find or create by. This might actually work, but we would need to have the group as an object, not just as an ID. So let's say add group equals group dot find by group ID. And let's see if in this debugger we have group accessible. So once again, I will continue and continue, and we want not just the group ID, but the group object to be accessible. And let's say group dot ID. Yeah, so now we have a group object, not just a group ID accessible here. And we can say group certificates find or create by. And let's say certificate equals. And let's see if this kind of certificate would be valid. So let's put a debugger here and let's click continue. Have we got any certificates created at the moment? Let's see. Okay, we have created 2 certificates. Let's say .all, and yeah, we have created 2 certificates for these 2 users from the CSV. So we managed to pass our CSV and create certificates with name, with name, email, and the modifications for each particular certificate. So looks quite good. Bin dev. Let's have a look at our application. Yeah, you see, I have imported 2 certificates and they have been created. Let's try once again. I will browse for a file. I will click import. Yeah, I guess I'm in a binding again. Let me switch the binding off. Yeah, it's broken because I started bin dev but not Rails server for and started the binding. So yeah, let's say bin dev once again, and this time without a binding. I'm going to click on import certificates. Yeah, let's refresh, and there are still 2 certificates. Let's go to certificate.rb, and yeah, we haven't created additional certificates apparently. Let's check why. So I thought that I would create 2 duplicate certificates, but for some reason I did not. Let's see why. Let's start Rails server. I will once again import the certificates, and let's go into the binding. So we have certificate.valid. Oh yeah, because I used find or create by, so we already found certificates with these users in them. Yeah, this is really great. So we're not creating any duplicates because we're using find or create by. Good that I did it before. So yeah, fantastic. We have created a certificate. And let's continue. Continue once again. And let's start bin dev and let's save our changes. So we have added a form, the file, and here is the logic for importing the file. And yeah, we display the certificates inside the group. So works well so far. Let's save our changes. Import CSV certificates. Okay, now what do we want to do next? We want to have some kind of way to view the generated PDFs of these certificates. Like you see, the value that all these services provide is this page with a URL, and they can well, view a nice looking certificate. So how are we going to do the PDF thing? And you see they have all these like fancy links to share the credential, or maybe to add the to LinkedIn button. So they are also going to build this kind of functionality. Let's start by a view to look at one specific certificate. So in our roots, we already have certificates. Let's go to certificates controller and we'll have a show action def show. And let's have a link from here to look at one particular certificate. So certificate, and we'll have equals link to certificate path at certificate do. And now when I click on one of these certificates, I will be able to look at it. So you see I'm on certificate/1. Now one thing I will want to definitely add is friendly ID to have not just the ID, but like some kind of random login hexes in our certificate URLs. But yeah, so now I am looking at one certificate, and what do I see here? I don't see anything good. Let's see. Yeah, it is an empty template at the moment. Application HTML, let's just put some kind of line break. Okay, so this is the empty template at the moment. And inside this template I will want to display all the certificate data, and it is actually going to be the PDF that is rendered here based on the certificate template. So let's say equals certificate.attributes. I don't have a certificate set here yet, so I will say in the certificates controller add certificate equals certificate.find params ID. Okay, so here I have the information about certificate 1. If I go here, I will have information about certificate 2. Okay, so I'm just displaying two views for these certificates. Before doing the PDF thing, let's do first the friendly ID thing, so that the IDs to these certificates are unique. Let's say we've done certificate show action. Okay, and now we're going to add the gem friendly ID. So GitHub friendly ID. Let's have a look. So yeah, I'm gonna add the gem friendly ID to the gem file. Bundle. Now I'm going to add the slug to certificates. Let's go to README and I will say add the slug to certificates. RailsDB migrate. Now what else do I need to say? Okay, I need to say extend friendly ID in the modal, so certificate.rb extend friendly ID, and I will say friendly ID will use a random hex, and I will say that I'm going to use finders and slugged, and I'm going to say def random hex equals secure random dot hex. Okay, let's try to generate these slugs. I will first, okay, I've already done the migration, so I will go and say certificate find each and save. Rails console certificate find each and save. Let's say certificate.first, and yeah, we have this unique slug. Let's go to bin dev and try to look at one of the certificates. So I'll go back to our groups. I go to show group, show certificate, and you see we have the slug displayed by default instead of the ID. So looks Good. And yeah, we've added friendly ID for certificates. And it also reminds me a quick win functionality that we can add. You see different apps like this givemycertificate.com. They have a link to verify certificate. It doesn't seem to be working for them. Let's try like AWS verify certification. Yeah, you see we would need to have a validation number. So it's a page where we would have a validation number, and if we input the validation number, we would find a certificate, or not find it. Steve Clark, generate the config initializer. I'm not sure what easily you're referring to at the moment, because maybe you wrote it a few minutes ago when I was on a different stage. I should have noticed it previously. Okay, so let's add a validation page for certificates. As we have here in the AWS training and certification. So let's say certificates. And here we will have some kind of verification page, /verify. Let's make it look like certificate /verify. And let's add the action. So certificates controller. Okay, there's a step in friendly ID install. Not required, but it generates config, initializes friendly ID. Oh yeah, indeed. Yeah, I think I could have definitely generated friendly ID. Yeah, let's see what it gives us. I don't think we really need it at the moment, because I'm not using the history. So this is important, I think, if we're using the history feature. So if we want to know what the previous name URLs to a certificate or something were, and to be able to find a certificate based on a previous URL. And friendly ID RB, I don't think I need to generate it in this case, because I'm not doing any modifications. So this is like automatically inherited from the gem. But yeah, it's really good that you reminded me about this. I forgot. Normally I would have added this friendly ID RB file, and as for the migrations, I don't think I would want to have it in this particular application. It seems to be working without it, so I'll not be adding them, but thanks a lot, Steve. Yeah, so where was I? Okay, a verification page. So let's go to bin dev, and inside our certificates controller, I will have dev verify. And to go to dev verify, we would have collection get verify. Let's see if the URL works. So certificates verify, and yeah, it is missing a template. So we are on the right track. Let's go to our certificates and add a verify.html.erb. Now let's copy some text. So please enter validation code from the bottom right of the certificate. Click submit to verify the certification. Okay, so we've copied this text. Yeah, it's very long, but looks quite good, and I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. Let's put it in some kind of div or something. Okay, and let's have a look at our app. So I'm going to the verify. There is this text as on Amazon, and I'm going to have a form for the validation. So again, I will say form with URL certificate, let's say verify certificates path, do form Let's see if this works. Yeah, and the method will be get. And we'll have form.text field validation number, or what do we have here? Yeah, validation number. Okay, we've got this validation number. Let's add a placeholder validation number. Okay, and a submit button equals form.submit. And it will say validate. And let's say it will we will input a certificate ID, and if we find a certificate, we will redirect to the certificate. If we don't find the certificate, then we will say that this is an invalid certificate, or the certificate is no longer valid. So how are we going to do this? We will go again to the verify certificates path. Let's input some kind of random number and go to our controller and start the debugger. Now again, as I'm using Foreman, I will start just the Rails server, not bin dev. And let me... Okay, I'm already in the debugger. Let's say params. We don't have this in the params, so let's say I will go and continue. And now I'm going to input something and click validate. Now I'm again in the debugger, params validation number. Okay, we have params validation number, and we can play from here. So validation number equals params validation number. Then I will say certificate equals certificate find by validation number. Let's see if it works. Okay, it is nil. And if certificate dot present, we will have redirect to certificate path at certificate, and notice certificate exists and is valid. Else we will redirect to verify certificate path or whatever it was. Let's see. Yeah, verify certificates path. Alert invalid. Yeah, invalid. And let's see if this works. Let's continue. I will switch the debugger off, and I will... Okay, certificates verify, can find certificate with friendly ID, whatever. Let's try and go back. I'll go to groups, I'll go to the group. I have this valid ID, I'll go to verify. Okay, and I need all this to be available only if validation number is present. Return, yeah, it will be if validation number dot present. Let's say return unless validation number present, so that we can also just access the verify action. Okay, so I can go to verify, I will input a valid certificate ID, and I'm redirected to the certificate. I will put an invalid certificate ID, and I'm well redirected back, but I don't have a flash here, so let's add equals alert. Okay, something invalid. Let's say equals notice and equals alert. maybe it doesn't render the notice and alert because I am using Turbo. Hello Anatoly. So let's say data Turbo false, and now it might render the validation messages. Okay, cannot find the record with friendly ID, whatever. Okay, so this is kind of correct. It shouldn't be able to find this record, but it shouldn't give us an error. Let's not render an error. Let's say find by slug validation number. Will it help us? Okay, yeah. So now we have this invalid text. Fantastic. Let's again find a valid certificate. Go to verify, and it works. I type in an invalid number, and we have this invalid text. Let me just clean up this notice that we don't render here at all. And again, this is invalid, and this is valid. Okay, so we have successfully created a page to input an ID of the certificate and validate whether it is valid or not. An additional to do could be check if the certificate expired. So to do, you know, like some certificates can expire, so we will want to let the users know that it is not valid anymore, but it was valid. Check if certificate has expired. Okay, I will remove the debugger from here, and let's commit our changes. So page to verify certificate. Okay, this was quite easy. Now let's add an option to have a QR code on our certificate. I've also done this before, so I'm not going to recreate the wheel. Let's see how we did QR codes. And again, we want to generate a QR code for a certificate only if we have the QR option on for our group. You see, inside the group, we can select if we want to display a QR for a certificate. But you know, we lose nothing if we actually generate QR codes for all the certificates, but we just don't have to display them for some. But that way we would use more storage on like AWS S3 or somewhere. So do we really want to store QR codes for each certificate? Well, I mean, we don't lose much on the small scale at the moment, so let's generate QR codes for all the certificates. And we're going to do it here. So after creating a certificate, we are going to generate a QR code for this certificate. Let's say to do generate QR for the certificate. And you know, we can generate this QR code actually from the model after we create the certificate automatically. So we would go to the model certificate.rb and have a callback after create generate QR. Then we would have private and say generate QR, def generate QR, and here we would have some kind of service like generate QR service dot new self dot call. And let's create this service. So generate QR service dot rb. I will copy some settings from here, some boilerplate code like what do we have? Certificate generate QR service. We don't need CSV. Attribute reader is going to be certificate. We're going to input the certificate ID. We'll have certificate equals certificate dot find params certificate ID, and in the call we are going to generate a QR. So to generate a QR, we are going to install the gem QR code. Yeah, it's really cool that I made some notes for myself throughout the years, and now I'm benefiting, and I also recommend you to do the same. Just create notes for the future self, and you'll not have to remember everything. Okay, so gem QR code to the gem file, bundle. Yeah, I don't think I need to gem install a QR code manually because I've already done it in the gem file. Okay, I'm going to say require a QR code in the service. And what else do I need? Let me just close a lot of windows that I don't need anymore. So many of them. Okay, so we have certificate RB and generate QR service that we are actually working with. Let's see what I did previously. So yeah, I will actually need to install active storage because I'm going to store the certificates somewhere. Oh, I mean the QR codes, the images of the QR codes that I generate. So I'm going to have to install the migrations for active storage. Here they are. I can actually comment them separately. So active storage migrations, and yeah, going back, I've added a QR code. Yeah, I'm going to say that a certificate has one attached QR code. I'm going to say after create generate QR code. Okay. Then I've got an object. I'm going to add the URL helpers for the URL that we are going to generate the QR code for, because like QR codes are generated for some kind of URL. Yeah, I already required a QR code. I'm going to add a URL. So yeah, let's put a binding somewhere in the call. Debugger, Rails server. And I'm going to once again go to our application, to the groups, show group. I'm going to upload certificates, import, and will I hit the debugger? No, I did not, because the certificates have already been created, so I'm not hitting the after create. Let me destroy all the certificates that I currently have. Certificate.delete all, quit Rails server. Okay, no certificates, import. Okay, let's check self. Okay, wrong number of arguments. Given 1, expected 0. Initialized certificate ID, interesting. Okay, I forgot to say like certificate ID will be self.id. Or I can, you know, just pass an object. Let's say, let's try just passing an object. So it will be just certificate. Let's see if this works. Once again, import. And where are we? So we have certificate. Okay, so you see, I just passed an object instead of an ID, and it also works very well. And here I have a certificate in the call. So the certificate object is already available. And I'm going to have some kind of URL to the certificate. So URL for controller certificates action show ID certificate ID, host will be CertificateOwl.com, only path false, and some kind of params. I'm not going to need any params. So let's see if this URL is valid. Okay, there are problems with multi-line pasting in my console, so I will try doing it in line. This is just awful. Okay, URL, and you see we've generated a URL, and maybe we will also want to say like SSL, so URL for SSL, let's say Rails. Okay, we have the host option. Okay, we have protocol. So protocol will be HTTPS. Let's see if it changes. Yeah, protocol is HTTPS, so looks good. So we have the URL for which we're going to generate the QR. Yeah, we'll have to call a QR code new for this URL. Let's try adding this line. So we'll have QR code, and yeah, we have created an QR code object. Okay, and next we are going to say QR code as PNG. So I'm not going to reinvent the wheel and rewrite this code, and I'm going to add some kind of name of the image and try to attach the generated QR code to our certificate object. Okay, seems to be fine. Let's continue, and let's see if the certificates would be generated with QR codes now. I will put a debugger in the end. Certificate delete all, quit Rails server. Okay, we have the CSV. I click import. I'm in the debugger. Let's say certificate.qrcode.attached. And yeah, we seem to have attached a QR code. Okay, seems to be fine. Let's continue. Continue once again, and we are out of the binding. Let's remove the binding, and here we have two certificates. Let's see if the certificates actually have attached images. We can try finding them in the storage. So yeah, these might be the actual certificates. Let me try to open it in Finder, and no, it doesn't show me anything. But if I add something like .png, you see, it is an actual QR code that should lead to that URL. Let me try checking on a mobile phone. Open in Firefox. And yeah, it tries to lead to the correct URL. I don't know if you see it, but it goes to CertificateOwl/certificates/the certificate ID. Actually, I could maybe want to have not ID, but the slug here. Because at the moment it leads to the certificate ID. Let's try regenerating the certificates. I will go to the console. Once again, I will delete all the certificates, start the Rails server, CSV, import, and let's have a look at one of the generated QR codes. Yeah, the old one might have not been deleted. Let's say .png. I think this is a new one, and you see it is much more detailed because it stores more data. Yeah, and now it has the hex in the URL. So seems to be working fine. Does it have F33? Let me refresh. yeah, let's try displaying the certificate slug somewhere here. Let's say equals certificate.slug. Yeah, F33, so it's the right URL. Okay, it seems to be working. So yeah, we have generated QR codes. Let's just in case, because like I was doing all these renamings, so it might not work properly, because like you shouldn't be tampering with this active storage data on your own. So okay, we have generated the QR codes, and let's see if we can display them. Let's go to a certificate and try to display one of the QR codes. Do I have the server running? No, I don't. Okay, and in the certificate partial, I will say equals image tag certificate dot QR code. And you see we have the QR codes. We will also say if certificate.qr code.attached. And we will also display it only if certificate.event.display QR. Yeah, it is not event but group. Okay, so for this group we do want to display the QR, but if we say we don't want to display the QR, you see there is no QR anymore. Okay, Steve Clock, nice. My site project home inventory tracker will need QR code generation. I'll check out your blog post. I've learned so much from your post, by the way. Thanks for your videos and writing. Oh, Steve, it's a real pleasure to hear such words, and like it's the kind of feedback that keeps me going. I'm real happy that I'm of value to you. Okay, so yeah, we've done QR code generation. By the way, Steve, if you're using inventory tracker, you might as well want to have barcodes. And there's also a post for barcodes here, like generate a barcode for a product. So a barcode would be not like a URL, but it would be just like the unique ID of the product. And yeah, actually it reminds me, a cool idea for a video would be to create a barcode reader and like in the phone to scan barcodes and to have them displayed in a Rails app. Yeah, that would be really great, like the IDs of the products. Okay, I'm a bit sidetracked. Let's see. So we've done the QR code generation. A QR code is generated for a certificate right after a certificate is created. Let's clean up the code a little bit. Okay, and let's save our changes. So let's say generate QR codes for certificates. Okay, so what have we done so far? We have done models. We have done we've done certificate template model, group, and certificate. Then we have done CSV import, QR generation, and yeah, a logical next step would be the PDF generation. So you see, actually the value and like what all these other apps are doing is that they generate a page where there is a beautiful certificate, and that can also be sent by email, and it can be downloaded as a PDF. So what are we going to do? Send email, then we are going to generate a PDF page. Harold says great, Ahmed says fantastic stuff, Yaro, I wanted to know how to use QR code and the video helped. Oh, and hello Bhupendra Pat from Nepal. Wow, like all the world is here. I know that Ahmed is in Canada, we've got Nepal. I wonder where Harold and Steve are from. Okay, So we're going to send emails, we're going to generate PDFs, and we're going to also add a button, add to LinkedIn profile in scope of this video. So add to LinkedIn button. I'll start from the easiest one. I will start from the add to LinkedIn button. So here's are the docs on how to add this button, add to LinkedIn. And here is a list of fields that there can be. So the URL to the certificate, and here are some example URLs. Let's try copying one of these URLs into our certificate partial or into the certificate show page. So I'm going to our certificates. Let me open one of the certificates, and I've got this button, add to LinkedIn. Oh, Newfoundland, Canada. That sounds like so far away. Wow. So we've got 2 people from Canada, Nepal. I'm from Ukraine, but right now I'm in France. Oh, thank you, Bhupendra. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. So, yeah, basically, what have I got here? I've got a URL that has a lot of metadata, an image, a remote image, yeah, with the alt add to LinkedIn profile. And if I click this image, it redirects me to LinkedIn, and it offers me to add the certificate to my licenses and certification. And here I'm just going to override part of these params with information from my own app. And I'm also going to use not ahref, but I'm going to use the railsy link to. So let's try to first write it into a link to. I'm going to just copy all the URL. Then I'm going to have a do action, an end, and I'm going to copy the image. Let's see if it works with the link to. I'm sure it will work. Let me go back. So it looks just the same. I don't want to redirect from our page, so I will say target blank. Oh, Puvanart says that he's from Thailand. Hello, Puvanart. I think I've seen you somewhere on Twitter, on LinkedIn. I'm sure I remember you. Okay, so add to LinkedIn, and yeah, it opens in a new tab, so that looks good. And now I'm going to change the default data with some data from our app. So what am I going to change? Let's have a look at this URL attentively. So certification name, and what do we have in the certification name? We have test certificate, and let me try replacing it with some Ruby code. It will be add certificate dot what do we have inside our certificate? We have it as a certificate of accomplishment or something. It is a certificate of accomplishment. So certificate.group.certificate template.name. Let's see what we are going to try to display. Let's say equals. The template name is certificate of completion. Okay, makes sense. So we'll have certificate of completion here. Let me refresh. I click add to profile. Certificate of completion. Okay, I've managed to successfully change this text. Harold says, you do a great job. I learned a lot from your videos and how you implemented some features using Rails, specifically Stimulus. send you a big hug from Colombia. Wow, Colombia, like South America, that's fantastic. Actually, I've got a friend from Ukraine that is currently traveling to Colombia. Cool, cool man. Okay, so issuing organization. By default it is set to LinkedIn, but I've already previously created a few of my own organizations on LinkedIn, and an organization that would be issuing in my case would be this Vericerti. Actually, the first name for CertificateOwl was Vericerti, like verified, certified. So I'm going to use this certificate, this organization ID. Let me check if it was updated. I will click add to profile. And you see the organization is set to Vericerti, so it's really good. Issue year would be at certificate.created at.year. I'm not sure if we can do it like this. Let's check documents, CertificateOwl. Let's see how we can easily get the year. Certificate.first.created at. Oh no, actually we're not. Yeah, we need the year. Certificate.first.created at .year. Yeah, it actually works with .year. I didn't know. I thought I would need strf time. Fantastic. Okay, so we've got the year. Then we have the month. Yeah, the same way we can get the month. Issue month equals dot month, and expiration year, let's make it like year plus 10. Let's say year plus 10. You see it works, so we'll have like 10 years by default. Expiration month would be the same month. So like will automatically expire certificate 10 years from now. We can of course also like remove this expiration or something, and then we have the certificate URL, and we will again need this kind of same URL. So QR URL, yeah, it's going to be the same QR URL. So oh, but actually we could have this page's URL. So request.url. Let's see if we can just get the request.url here. Huvan Hat. Okay, let's see. Add to profile. Do we have the certificate URL? What is this? I don't like this URL. Let's go back. So we have this URL that we'll want to have by default. So we'll just have the request URL, and we don't need to like write the URL in a fancy way, because we'll have this button on this URL, so we can just have this URL here. Let's say certificate URL equals request.url. I think it is the only thing that could potentially break something. Okay, and we have the certificate ID. And for the certificate ID, we would have at certificate.slug. As a Rails engineer, I use your videos to train and guide interns in my office. Wow, that's like super cool. I'm super excited to hear that. Yeah. Let me know if there are actually any like other specific topics, like beginner topics or some stuff that could be interesting for intern level people to learn, and I might make more videos dedicated for like people who are really starting in their career. Okay. So I've got the credential URL, I've got the credential ID, and it seems to be working. Looks good. I could potentially add skills to make it even better. I have just sent you a LinkedIn request as Bhuvan Bhatt. Okay, I might have just like accepted you. Bhuvan Bhatt. Oh yeah, I have like just accepted you. Cool. So yeah, and in the meantime, we've actually added this button to add a certificate to LinkedIn profile. So cool, we can generate certificates and the users will be able to see the certificates and add them to their LinkedIn profile. Let's save our changes and so add certificate to LinkedIn profile. And a cool thing, so if I'm looking at kind of the competitors, for example, this certificate certifier, for them, they have it as a premium feature. So let's go to certifier.me and go to their pricing. They have QR codes as a premium feature. They have LinkedIn certificates as a premium feature. So we can have their premium features in our free tier and beat them this way maybe. Social media sharing, so like I'm like working on my own. I know that these guys, for example, they have a big team, and one of the few ways I can compete with them is race to the bottom and include their premium features in my free tier. Yeah, I see that I think Bhuvan is sending me messages. In the meantime, I will, I guess, answer a bit later, not to get too distracted from the work I'm doing at the moment. Yeah, so I've done the add to LinkedIn, and one more thing is done. Let's go to sending emails. Okay, so whenever a certificate is generated, we want to send an email to the user conditionally if we set it in the group settings. If in the group settings we said that we want to send emails. So in the generate certificate service, in the CSV import service, we have the creation of certificates, and then inside the certificate.rb we have this after create generate QR. We can say if group dot display QR. Let's go to the display. Yeah, we have if group display QR, and we're going to have something similar for sending emails. So email certificate or like congratulations email. I don't know how to name it. Let's say send email. Again, callbacks, in my opinion, aren't the best way to store business logic. So like ideally I would manually call this generate QR service from the CSV input service in this place. But for our small case, like we're doing it only in one place and it's quite a mini app, so it's fine. Okay, Harold is asking, what do you think about stimulus component project? Oh, let's have a look. So stimulus components. I think you're referring to this one. Oh, actually, yeah, I've used it. It's quite good. A thing I slightly don't like is that like I am just inputting and using a remote controller, and in some cases I can like extend the controller with my own actions, but I don't get to see the code. So a few times I used these kind of controllers like read more, for example, like when I was just starting with stimulus, this was extremely helpful. Like I just import read more, I import clipboard controller, and it just works in my app. But you don't learn Stimulus on your own if you just use a library, and Stimulus is like very, very close to vanilla JavaScript. So with like if you just import these libraries and use them blindly, then you don't get to learn a lot. But when I was actually looking into the source code of like the clipboard, of read more and so on, I actually learned a lot, and it gave me some inspiration for my Stimulus usage at work. So I think it's like a really great project, and it helps you be productive, and there is like the source code from which you can learn. I think it is in TypeScript. But I love having all my Stimulus controllers in my app. Okay, so send email, and we'll have dev send email, and we're going to send the email if we have group email as true. And we're going to generate a mailer. Now, before generating a mailer, I recently wrote up a small text on using action mailer. So I'm going to add some default settings to my development environment. So action mailer default URL localhost, delivery method letter opener, perform delivery is true. If you're still having the error, I'm not having this error yet, then I'm going to install letter opener to be able to nicely see the emails that are being delivered locally. Gem file, so going to the development environment, adding letter opener, quit, bundle. Yeah, I'm not going to set up sending emails in production for the moment, I don't need that. And let's go to the action mailer docs. So, okay, let's generate a mailer. Rails generate mailer. Let's go to our README and set everything up. So we will generate a mailer named certificate. It's going to be certificate mailer, and an action will be like created. Let's generate this and see what the generator gives us. So we've got the certificate tests, we've got a kind of mailer controller, we've got okay, I've done this on my own, so here I'm going to invoke the certificate mailer, and we've got the templates. I'm going to use just the HTML template for now. Well, yeah, let's leave both. And yeah, let's try going to the server, bin dev, and going to localhost, Rails, mailers, and we have certificate mailer created action. And we will want to go to previews, certificate mailer preview, and we will say dot with, we will say certificate, certificate dot first dot created. And let's go to the certificate mailer, and here we'll have add certificate. Let's add some kind of subject, and the subject will be params certificate ID. Do we have a certificate ID? Let's say param certificate. Okay, what do we have in the preview? We pass in the certificate. It is certificate.first. So I would expect it to work. Let's say params. Okay, params are empty. Why are they empty? Let's see. Let's say preview. So we have with certificate, certificate first, created. So the preview path seems to be correct. Maybe I need to just restart my server. Okay, let's okay, yeah, I think it is a problem. Yeah, I shouldn't have named a modal group because it's trying to use the group action from Ruby or from Rails. So this was a mistake to name a Rails modal group. Don't name a Rails modal group. Okay, this will be a learn for later. I will comment this out. Let's just do the generation and let's see. So in the subject we have the certificate object. It reloading helped. And now let's go back to our certificate mailer email. Okay. And we're going to send it from, we're going to change it to like issuer at CertificateOwl.com. So I'm sending from CertificateOwl to the actual person that should receive this email. We've got a subject. And what will we have inside the body of the email? Let's say created.html.erb. And here we'll have some kind of text like you have been issued a certificate by, and here we'll have at certificate.attributes. I think we'll have something like issued by, yeah, inside our modifications. So certificate.modifications and here we'll have issued by Yaroslav Shmurov from Super Rails. Looks good. And click on this link to view or download the certificate. So the cool thing, we're not going to actually send PDFs to the users. We're just going to send them a welcome email that contains a link on which they can view the certificate and download it as a PDF or do whatever they want, as we have it here in this application, for example. And the cool thing, we are not storing a PDF, we are not sending a PDF, so our emails are more lightweight, our storage is more lightweight. We're just going to generate the PDF on runtime whenever a user opens a page. So as here, you see, you go to this page, you see a visually nice certificate, you have a lot of actions like add to LinkedIn, share, email, download, embed, whatever. Whew. So yeah, going back. Yeah, this is our certificate template, email template. And we'll have a link to, we'll have certificate URL at certificate. It's important to have certificate URL, but not certificate. Okay, no root matches. Let's say certificate template URL missing required key ID. Why don't we have a certificate URL? Let's go to our roots and say Rails roots g certificate. So we have certificates show. It should be certificate. Okay, let's try path, whatever. Undefined method certificate path. Interesting. Certificate path doesn't want to work. And certificate URL doesn't want to work. Let's okay, yeah, because I didn't add the name. So like view certificate, your certificate. Yeah, it all works. It's just me being stupid. Okay, view your certificate. I click on this and I'm redirected to this page. Okay, seems to be okay. And potentially we would want to render it not in format HTML but in format PDF. So format PDF, and potentially target would be blank. Let's try clicking the second link, view a certificate, and it tries to open the certificate.pdf, and we will need this for what we are going to do next. So yeah, I think we are more or less done with the mailer. Just let's ensure that we are sending the email. So we have a mailer preview that we've designed. We don't need the scrutiny anymore. We have the certificate, we get the email from the certificate, we've got a generic subject name. Yeah, we have the certificate template, so certificate issued by, and a link to view the certificate. We've updated our application mailer settings, and we will send an email from here. So we will say certificate mailer dot what do we have in our preview, certificate mailer with certificate self, and the action is going to be named created. Okay, yeah, let's try sending the emails. So yeah, just in case, I'll restart the server once again. I will remove all the certificates. I will go back here, show the group, browse, get the certificates, click import, and have the emails been sent or not? Let's see the logs. I'm not sure that the certificates have actually been sent. I see that the QR codes have been generated. Let's go to our certificate and put a binding here. So debugger. Once again, I will delete all the certificates. I will click generate certificates, import, and hope to hit the debugger. Okay, let's run the action. Yeah, it seems to have worked. Processed outbound mail. Continue. So yeah, like the emails must have kind of been sent. Okay, and I think we're done on this one. So send emails when certificates are created. And what do we have next in our roadmap? Generate PDF pages. Let's see if we have anything except generating PDF. So, as I was stating on the very beginning, deliverables are select certificate template, upload recipients list, generate PDF, email, and get QR. So I think only actually the PDF and a lot of styling work are left to do. So let's go back and yeah, get the PDF work going. I'll also save this link for Amazon certificate verification somewhere. And yeah, I will start with the PDF. I'm going to use gem wicked PDF. It's a great gem to turn HTML to PDF. So we'll going to have all these like fancy looking templates as all the other systems do, and we'll be able to style with CSS and HTML where we want different fields to be placed. So let's install the Wicked PDF gem. Okay, what is next? Let me actually look into the notes I've done on my own, because usually they are easier to read for me. Okay, we'll need to maybe add HTML to PDF to binary to our gem file in the development group. Then bundle. Oh, hello Aristotle. Judging by the name, you must be from Greece or Macedonia. Nice to meet you. Okay, so the bundle is taking quite long because installing Wicked HTML to PDF binary takes quite some time. Next, we are going to generate a separate style sheet. We're going to generate the Wicked PDF initializer. Yeah, it's taking quite a while. In the meantime, maybe we can already generate the initializer. Okay, let's have a look at it. So we've got Wicked PDF, a new file. And to make it work correctly with like apps like Heroku, we're going to override this file a bit. So instead of this, we're going to say Wicked PDF config layout PDF. Then by default, the orientation of all our certificates is going to be landscape, but potentially we could also want to allow certificates to have not a landscape but a portrait size. So here potentially we could have orientation, and this would be either landscape or portrait. So based on this, we would generate the PDF correctly for a specific certificate template. Okay, we've got the layout, we'll have orientation landscape, page size will be A4, zoom will be 1, and DPI will be, let's say, 75. Of course, you can make it like 300 or 800 for better quality, whatever you want. Okay, next. Do we already have the dependency installed? Yes, finally we do. Okay, let's continue. So, do I have a MIME types file? No, I don't have a MIME types file in Rails 7. So I don't think I need this line. And we're going to generate a new layout, PDF HTML.erb. So we'll go to layouts, PDF HTML.erb, and let's copy everything from our layout here, or actually just see what I had previously. No, let's just copy from our real layout. And okay, we will have the title, CertificateOwl, viewport, meta tags. We are not going to use these style sheets. We are going to use the Wicked PDF style sheet tag to PDF. Then we've got our body. We will have main and yield, and no styles of these whatsoever. And then we will create an assets style sheets pdf.css. So this file, we've just created this file, And here potentially we could have something like body and like background color green, for example. Let's see if it would give us anything. Harold says, I have a question, my friend. When you work with a turbo frame that encapsulates a form, are you editing? I don't see the continuation. Okay, so okay, can you make a redirect to when updating process was success, and turbo library can redirect to in the browser with no problem. Can you make a redirect to when updating process was success, and turbo library can redirect to in the browser with no problem? Man, sorry, I didn't really like understand the question. Look, you can maybe ask me the same question on Twitter or LinkedIn, and we can have a look at it together. My brain isn't like focusing well enough at the moment. I will stick to the PDF thing, and Turbo it's like a completely different thing to work with. So okay, I've done the basic setup, and I will go to certificates controller, and here I have the show, and let's say respond to do format.html and format.pdf, and let's try to go to one of the certificates, bin dev. Okay, you see the body color from PDF CSS has been applied to our application, so I will maybe remove the required tree and self, and now it is not applied to the whole application. Let's try applying something to the app, like background color silver. Okay, this is applied to the application. And let's go to one of the certificates and say .pdf, and it's missing a template for PDF. Okay, so we'll need to have a template for PDF, possibly. Let's see what I have in my notes. So I could actually say format PDF do, run the PDF. Here we would have some kind of like certificate ID. Add certificate.slug. The question is simple words is turbo library catch redirect to request. I mean, if you're asking if you want to have a full page redirect from a turbo frame, you need to just have target top. So for example, you've got equals turbo frame tag tasks target top. I'm not sure if this is the right syntax, but basically whenever you have a link to or a form and you have target top here, then it is going to be an actual redirect. If you don't have target top, then it will try to render the results within this turbo frame. I hope I answered your question. I think Mark Mead, turbo frame. No, okay, I don't remember, but there was one guy who had a nice article about like turbo frame target self, target top, and so on. Okay, yeah, where was I? So I wanted to have a certificate template. And what is the template going to be? The template is going to be the certificate template. This is the key thing here. We're going to use the where do we have it? Our views, certificate templates, and the template path is going to be certificate templates slash so we would need each certificate to have its own certificate template, its own styling. So we would need an HTML file for each of the certificate templates. So it would be something like slash at certificate dot group dot certificate template dot id. So what would this give us? We would need the template with the id 2, or maybe that would be some kind of slug. So importantly, this is going to be the path to a template that we have stored somewhere. Like for each of these certificates, we'll need to have a separate HTML, CSS template that we store somewhere for each of these. So maybe it would be like a file that is attached or something. Most likely it would be an attached file with an HTML.rb template. Let's try generating a template like let's say templates, and here we'll have HTML.rb, and the path will be slash templates slash this one. Let's see if this works. Something is happening. Okay, and we have an empty file that has been generated. Let's see. So we are using this template, and here we will have add certificate, for example. Let's try to get the certificate date. Okay, and you see we're actually using the green layout, so that is really great. We are inheriting from the right file. So here, if we go to groups, we are inheriting from application CSS, and here we are inheriting from PDF CSS. So this seems to be working correctly. Let's see what else we had here. So formats HTML, disposition inline, layout PDF. Okay, that's fine. And yeah, here we can display different certificate data. For example, what do we have? We have the certificate of name, dot email. What else do we have? Let's say dot attributes. Let's just get the attributes at the moment. Let's get dot modifications. And to get each of the modifications, we'll need to use this kind of syntax of finding a key and getting its value, like modifications issued by. And instead of using this syntax, we could potentially create an open struct. Let's say modifications equals open struct.new, and here we would have certificate template dot modifications, and we could just say modifications dot issued by. So if we create a kind of dummy object with some params, and yeah, we can use better syntax now. Okay, so we've got the name, we've got the modifications. Let's say dot each do, no, like, let's not iterate, let's get each of them separately. Oh no, let's actually iterate. Each do modification and equals modification. Okay, I don't think we are actually displaying any. No, we are not. Okay, so let's get like modification dot issued by, for example. What else do we have? We have issued at. We have description. We have name, and that's it what we have for this template. So we have this list of fields. Yeah, and now it's all up to styling this template. We have a list of modifications that are available for this template, and let's see what will happen if we try to get something that doesn't exist. So we don't get an error, and that's quite good, makes stuff more versatile for us. So looks good. Now we let's go back to our groups, show the group, and what if we change the template? We'll use template 3 instead, and open one of the certificates. Let's add the link to certificate show to view PDF. So let's say link to open PDF, certificate path, format PDF, target blank, and I just forgot to say add certificate, format PDF. Okay, let's see. I click open PDF, and you see it is missing a template. So I will need to have a template with the name 3. Let's say 3.html.erb. And it renders an empty certificate. And you see the 2 and the 3 can be styled completely differently. So now it's all up to styling the templates. And I think I'm not going to focus on the styling a lot now, but I've actually kind of achieved what I wanted. So we can go to a certificate, we have the information about the certificate, we can open it in PDF. When a certificate is generated, we send an email, we can add the certificate to our profile and populate the data. Yeah, this one is for employee of the month, issued by, issued team, credential ID, credential URL, looks quite good. And yeah, let's just add a few links that are missing to our application html.erb. We will have a link to verify and verify. What was the path? Verify certificates path. Okay, so we have a list of certificate templates. We can create groups. Inside the groups, we can upload a CSV, and based on the CSV, we will generate certificates. If we open one of the certificates, we have the information about the certificate. We can open it in PDF. Let's also, while we're still on this, display the QR code inside the PDF. How can we do it? Let's go to one of the templates, or we can do it in all the templates. So in the end, for example, we will have image tag, and we will have add certificate dot QR code if add certificate dot QR code dot attached. Let's see if it gets displayed, and yes, we have the QR code. And let's also display the, let's say, what the certificate is for. Let's say add certificate dot group dot certificate template dot name. So the certificate is for being an employee of the month, Ahmed Nadar in our case. Okay, yeah, looks quite fine. Of course, you can work a lot on styling the stuff. Like, I know, let's just add some separate divs. So this is gonna be in one div, name and email of the person who receives, the QR code, and yeah, we have a PDF that's been generated. Looks okay. Just as some final stuff, let's go through the whole app and see how it works. I will close everything and let's see. So I have an app and I have two certificate templates. Now I can see just the parameters that are available in the certificate templates, but the goal here wasn't to style the certificates, but they would actually render different templates, as this app has different templates with different fields. Here we can see that also they have potentially different fields. This is a certificate of completion, this one is for employee of the month, and the fields can be different. Yeah, I click on one of the certificates and I can create a group of recipients that would be receiving this kind of certificate. So this is a certificate for what? Certificate of completion. Certificate of completion of Ruby on Rails Bootcamp by Yaro. So we want to display QR, we want to send emails, create group, and now I can upload a list of recipients. So when I upload this list of recipients and click import, I'm going to automatically create certificates, create QR codes, and send these certificates by email to the users. So I think I hit a debugger. Yeah, I did. Okay, let me try once again. Okay, Rails S. Okay, so I'm going to generate certificates. I'm going to import a CSV. I click import, and you see the certificates have been generated. In the background, I have also sent emails somewhere here. And if I click on the certificate, I have the button to add to profile and open PDF. If I click open PDF, it opens the PDF of this certificate. If I click add to profile, it adds the certificate to my profile. And there is also a verify page where you can add a number of a certificate, click validate, and say you'll get a response whether the certificate is invalid, and if it is valid, it will redirect you to the page of this certificate. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks a lot for being with me, it was a pleasure, and a special thanks to everybody in the comment section. Harold, Aristotle, Ahmed Nadar, Hendra, Puvanart, Steve, Anatoly, and Abdullah here. Thanks a lot for being with me, guys. And yeah, it was a pleasure, and I'm like super excited about building this application. And I'm really planning to turn it into something real that hopefully will bring value, like different types of organizations that issue certificates, and it might even bring some profit, who knows. So thanks for being with me, and see you in the next one. How do I